New industry figures show nutraceutical hemp could be worth $2 billion to New Zealand into the future. Cosmetic brand Hark Zander was founded after a successful trial into the use of industrial hemp as a way of improving soil quality and vineyard biodiversity. This is all co-founded by Callaghan Innovation. Marlborough Vineyard manager and co-founder of Hark Zander, Kirsty Harkness, joins us now from Marlborough. Kirsty, firstly, what's the weather doing? Is it getting some much needed rain?
Yes, definitely. We've got some lovely drizzle all day today. It's great.
Good. I can kind of see that out your window, hence why I wanted to ask. I'd love to hear about, and all of our listeners and viewers, this journey from registered nurse to vineyard manager and now nutraceutical skincare.
Yeah, well, I've always been an entrepreneur, Sarah. We bought a piece of land, myself and some friends, and we planted the vineyard, and I took over running it about 11 years ago. It was never my intention. I was nursing and doing photography at the time. And then with that, you treat the vines like you treat the human body. The healthier you are, the more resistant you are to disease. So I've been making compost over the years and looking at wildflowers, different cover crops down the rows that adds biodiversity. And I came across hemp 3 years ago. And so this will be my third season growing it. The more you find out about hemp, the more in love with it you fall.
There'll be a lot of interested people in all the different types of cover crops. I see blue borage, red clover, phacelia and buckwheat you've tried. Why does hemp differ?
Yep, we're still using them.
Yep.
We're still using them combined with the hemp. But what the hemp does is it sends a taproot straight down, so it will break up compacted soil, and it obviously creates an organic pathway. It brings nutrients from a lot lower down than the other cover crops can do and brings them up and makes them available for the vines. It's not competing for water source. It doesn't have roots that spread out. It just sends a taproot straight down. And even last year's drought, our vines, which were getting irrigation, and our hemp, which was not, were both green, but everything else had dried off, even the clover. So we found that successful, plus its biomass growth rate is phenomenal. It takes 6 weeks to germinate into a little bunch at the beginning, like a little bush, and then it shoots up and it grows a foot a week. And for the mulch that we want to make with it, it outcompetes everything else for biomass.
Vines traditionally I know in Central, they don't like wet feet and free draining soils. What is the soil profile like across? Is it just particularly in that loam, or is it being done and trialled in different areas of New Zealand as well?
Yeah, we've got it trialled over 3 vineyards. It definitely does well in the silty soils. The stone has been a bit hard because we've had 2 years of drought in a row. So the one area that we did with stone, we were able to water it at the beginning and it did really well. But the areas we did last year didn't do so well. But we've also learnt to get it in earlier. So we'll be planting next week this time, so we can try and catch the spring rains, because it only needs rain in the first few weeks to get its seeds germinated and get it going. Then it just finds its own water.
What about in rotation as well?
Well, this year we'll be rotating through the vineyards we're planting in, and we're doing every second row. So we're alternating from the rows from last year. We're still in a lot of trial phase. So we're doing, with the research with Callaghan, we're doing is 3 year, and next year we plan to publish in journals. So that's quite exciting. But so far the research has been very positive.
I am imagining harvest in April. How high is it in navigating your way through?
Yeah, well, actually, outside of the rows, it came up taller than me, up to about 2 metres, but that's because it's got no sunlight competition with the grapes. Inside of the rows, the same cultivar grew up to about our waist, and we were concerned that we may get some condensation there, we might get some botrytis, but there was enough aeration, and of course it was a drought year, so those are all things we'll keep an eye on. But we don't have to leave it right till the grapes are ready. The winemakers asked us to, because of the trials they're doing with the yeast and the wine. We can mow it in whenever we choose to.
Kirsty, you are on the New Zealand Hemp Board, a government hemp committee. And we've seen some significant growth since we've had regulation change here in this country. Do we have the infrastructure from a contracting perspective right through to a processing perspective for us to take advantage of this $2 billion industry opportunity?
Oh, really good question. I know that up in Wanganui, it's a microclimate. They've got a lot of extra plantings up there. I know down in Canterbury, you've got people like Midlands. They've been doing it for 20, 25 years. So they've got all the infrastructure down there. They're putting a lot more machinery into New Zealand now to be able to process the materials from the hemp plant more. But definitely building up as it goes. I would say there would be a lot of investment into that area, but I don't think people are scared to invest into hemp. Even with the medicinal side, you've seen that the crowdfunding campaigns have been very successful.
Let's talk about that then, this referendum. Any effect?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it wasn't advertised very well because the vote was actually about discussing the bill as opposed to passing a bill. And hemp is tied up with that bill, so we're regulated under the Drug Act currently. So we were hoping for release from that. We're hoping for looser regulations, but we'll still be pushing for that even though that the vote didn't pass. We'll still be trying to get the government to work with us to allow us to do a lot more with the plant because it's there's so much more you can do. And obviously the seed as a food and the leaf as a food, it's a very good product for you.
And as an oil, bringing this into the skincare company Hark Zander that you have co-founded, have we got to a point, do you believe, that consumers have got enough critical thought to understand the production elements of bringing together, grapeseed oil and hemp seed oil in this unique production system that we can create here in this country and benefit off our wine's profile?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people see cannabis as this thing you smoke. Like I even had someone message me to say they bought our oil and tried smoking it. And yeah, they're joking, but everyone jokes about that. But I definitely think that people, their knowledge base is growing. People like the grapeseed oil, people are realizing that the goodness in nature, the antioxidants that are there, the way that it nourishes our skin, I think people, you look at the supermarkets, people buy a lot more organic now. You're trying to move away from the synthetics, trying to move away from the fake fragrances and all of the chemicals that are added to things. And that's what we've done with this Hark Zander product. We've gone 100% natural with it. And can I point something out to you? With food products for hemp, you're not allowed to have the leaf anywhere on your product. So because it's skincare, we can. So we went all out in making the plant our hero. And we've sat it on a little throne of leaves there. We've got the hemp flower all over the bottle and the bees, and we've got that all over the box as well. So it's, if someone looks at that and they don't know what it is, well, hopefully they'll go away and they'll educate themselves on the goodness of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Kirsty. You may or may not have tonight's conversation is around a couple of things. Melbourne Cup's tomorrow. It'll be too late to discuss what the tips are on tomorrow night's show. If you do follow, have you got any tips for us?
No, but I'm ready to put down here in Blenheim, we've got a local group that put a bet in, so I'll be looking at that one tomorrow.
Bit of a syndicate. And what about Christmas? Where do you love to spend Christmas?
With family in Auckland.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes we head to the Coromandel where my parents live, but I've got an amazing large family in Auckland, which is cool.
And Auckland is apparently lovely when everyone buggers off. People from around the country probably don't really care about that, but apparently it is, and I'm sure it will be over that time. Hey, thank you so much, Kirsty Harkness, that Callaghan innovation, very cool. And you can, of course, find out more online.
This is Sarah's Country.